Hey everybody, we're the Good Doctors of Abbey Research. I'm Dr. Erin.
I'm Dr. Kristen.
You are very welcome to our content. We are doctors with social science degrees who spend our days educating folks about empathy and inclusivity. We do this a lot of ways, but mostly by having conversations about different kinds of culture, popped, lived, historic. We just love to talk about culture. We're trained to do it and we like doing it. So we're doing it. We do it in all these ways.
It's that simple.
It's that simple. We're very lucky. We do it by having conversations about why everybody's just a little bit racist, and that's okay, but we should be working on it, to what we learned about women in the 80s in the really cool TV show Glow, to body shape diversity or lack thereof in Netflix's smash success Bridgerton. We do it all. We talk about these things all the time with ourselves. We like to record our thoughts and feelings for all you friendly folks. So wherever you are engaging with this content, please be sure and like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, tell your family, mention it on a Zoom call. We appreciate the references.
This episode recap is part of the OG Good Doctors content. We started our YouTube channel to talk about The Handmaid's Tale. And thankfully, we get to, maybe not, we get to keep doing it. So today is about episode 5, entitled Chicago. Really briefly, a lot happens and yet nothing does in this episode. So we have 3 kind of disparate storylines. So real quick, let me do Gilead.
Yep.
So you've got Aunt Lydia having an identity crisis, and you've got Bradley Whitford just being peak Josh Lyman in this situation.
It was so, like, I literally, my notes say strong Josh Lyman vibes. Like
strong Sorkin vibes happening here. So there's a lot of machinations between Commander Lawrence and Nick. If you've listened to us before, we refer to them often as Josh Lyman and Eyebrows, but I have in fact learned their names. So Commander Lawrence and Nick. And I'll be completely honest, I don't understand. Like, I just kept writing in my notes, make this make sense. So we're not going to really touch on that all that much, except for the line that Commander Lawrence says when Nick says, "I would know where June was." And Commander Lawrence says, "Would your heart glow?" or something.
I would know if she was near the border. I was like, "'Cause you track her?" Like,
I don't understand. But the levity that Bradley Whitford brings to this stuff, like the humanity he brings, I should say, is just really good.
Yeah.
I don't understand what his kind of end game is at this point. He is playing so many sides. I don't understand where his even lie.
And that conversation with Lydia about, like, we can fix this. And I'm like, fix this? What does that mean?
And are you just saying that because that's what Lydia wants to hear? And who is he being honest with, if anybody? Was all of these, I don't understand Commander Lawrence. So but at the end of it all, Lydia is reinstated to being Aunt Lydia, which was a bit of the thing. And we got some serious, I would be very honest, unappreciated Liverpool vibes as we watched women in red walk in a circle, as Lydia said, "You will never walk alone." Please take my name out of your mouth, Aunt Lydia. Like, it was not okay.
I know. I was like, do they know they're making that reference? Is a writer just a secret Liverpool fan and they thought it would be funny? Because it's not.
Oh, no, even worse. I bet you the writer is a Manchester United fan and decided to abuse us.
Oh, burned. I bet you they're a United supporter.
Oh, we were burned.
That's not cool.
So you have that. And then let's talk about June, because we have to. So June starts this episode so desperately in need of a gun that, like, every single mental health bone in my body went, this is the exact person that should be never given a firearm.
Yeah.
She eventually doesn't get a gun, thankfully, but she does leave the little enclave of rebels that she's with. We discover that there's a group of things called the Nighthawks that, to quote, "They don't care if they live or die. They just want to kill soldiers. You'd love them." It is kind of where the June that we are presented at the beginning of Chicago.
That's her vibe right now.
Would vibe with, for sure. So she heads off. There's an incredibly emotional, and even my dead cold, I have no empathy. I have no emotional engagement with these characters anymore. Teared up at June and Janine saying goodbye. June and Janine say goodbye. June ventures off into her own.
Walking down the middle of the street.
I was singing Green Day in my head. Da, 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 da. June's just terrible at this, full stop, constantly. So Janine joins her, so I don't know why we did all that. And then bombs fall. Cool. Mm-hmm. And at the very end, Moira and June reunite. Mm-hmm. And I will say there's been some chatter online about that June like was terrible to Moira or whatever. Child has a concussion, is probably quasi-deaf, and like I don't think she connected that Moira was who Moira was. Yeah. And that's we do not make excuses for June in this space. But that is a very realistic trauma response to me. So I don't mind that she looked quite blank at that. So that's basically what happens. We end with June and Moira like staring at each other across the rubble. Full disclosure, this episode annoyed us significantly more than anything else for a whole host of reasons, including that it felt like a lot of wheel spinning. And we, anyone who has joined us before knows that we hate little more than wheel spinning. So Dr. Aaron, what would you like to hit first?
Yeah. That's a good question. I think we'll deal with Gilead first.
Okay.
Again, I don't think we learned anything we didn't already know about Gilead, so I'm not sure what they were doing there.
I am open to the idea that this whole power triangle, like this is a great example. Okay, this is a great example of a show doing something mysteriously, possibly well.
Okay.
Versus what they do with June. So they've given us enough information to know that something is going on and we don't understand it. If they resolve it by the end of the season, then this is Chekhov's gun and that's fine.
Yeah. And like
that's not ever what they do with June, by the way. So yeah.
Correct. We all know that like Commander Lawrence's expertise is the economy. And he, like you said, we have no idea what he's doing. And I'm okay with not knowing what he's doing. And I'm okay with not knowing what side he's playing.
Which is why he's the most fascinating character right now. To me.
By a long country mile.
I would spend all of my time with Commander Lawrence.
I'm really interested in this, like how he's manipulating everybody to get what he wants. We don't really know what he wants. Working with it, like I am here for all the scenes they want to give me with Bradley Whitford and Ann Dowd.
And even Bradley Whitford and Max Minghella or whatever.
Yeah. I like them too. Like
I like them too.
I like this motley crew people that are like
not Putnam.
Yeah, not Putnam. Imperfect, trying to figure themselves out. Like Aunt Lydia, having an identity crisis was not necessary, but Ann Dowd is a fantastic actress. She's very good at it. So I think like aside from moving forward whatever is happening between the three of them, did we need the lines about insurgents being infestations?
Well, okay, so I'll push back a little bit on that for the simple fact that I don't think we have, I never like to hear people being called terrorists or cockroaches, which is what they really implied with their tones of voices. But it reinforced things that we already know, and did, I think, give a little bit more insight into how much the rest of the world hates Gilead.
Yeah, and I will say,
I do think there was a little bit there. You're right, not as much, but there, I think we did learn a little bit.
And I think too, I will amend my statement and back off a little bit because I just remembered that they said that like where the insurgents were strong.
Correct, and I thought that was fascinating.
And the show released that map that we showed
when this episode went live.
Yeah. And so I think it's helpful to be putting those pieces together. I guess I just thought the part about, obviously Gilead thinks those people are terrorists. It just felt like they were being a little too on the nose with that. So that's what I'd like to start with. That's Gilead. I'm intrigued to see what happens there. I wasn't sure what they were going to do with Gilead after June left, or whether they were going to make June go back again.
But yeah, if Commander Lawrence is our like avatar into this,
yeah, touchstone,
because I don't, again, even the way that like they're, even with how erratic some of the storytelling is, what they continue to set up is the downfall of Gilead. And
yeah.
So, and again, I mean, we've said it, critics have said it, the actors themselves have said it. If this show ends with anything but the downfall of Gilead, what the hell have we been doing for 5 years?
Yeah.
So, like, it's, you know, everyone kind of knows that this is where this is heading. And to me, that actually makes it richer.
Yeah.
Because I want to see how they're going to get there. I want to see the exact machinations of what's going to happen, and how it's going to work. And so where Bradley Whitford, where Commander Lawrence plays into that could very quickly become my favorite part of this show.
Yeah, it's super interesting. I agree with you. So I liked where we were in Gilead in this episode. Mm-hmm. In Chicago.
Okay, so if
what do you want to say about Chicago?
I mean, no, to me, absolutely none of it was necessary.
And we talked about this offline. I think the thing that was the most unnecessary, especially for where we get in episode 6, without spoiling anything, was the Nighthawks and that whole plot line.
I don't understand that. I don't understand. I liked the swap meet. I will say I like seeing anytime you show me what life actually looks like for these folks.
Yeah.
But then we did some things like we traded all of this, and June and Janine bond over the trading of the cloaks for the hat, because this, like, Janine's gonna go all in with Steven and it's gonna be great. And then no more than 10 minutes later, Janine turns around
and leaves
and gives June the hat.
Yeah, and gives June the hat, yeah, and then
gives June the hat, and then it's. I respect a few things that I am simply just tired of and therefore cannot go with them. One is that they do this rug pulling a lot.
Yeah.
One of their narrative devices is this emotional rug pulling.
Yeah.
And I am weary of it. And the other is that while they allow Janine moments of humanity to like scream at June, the most important part of Janine is somebody who believes unwaveringly in June. And so because you can't break that part of her character.
Yeah.
Because that she is important to the plot for that reason. She is not a human in and of herself.
She doesn't.
We get this, like, the minute they, like, she's like, well, yeah, I'm going to stay here. I was like, Janine's not going to stay there.
I know. And you're right. It just feels like they're pulling threads just to sew them back in later. And I just don't, it's a lot of expended effort that doesn't get us anywhere.
Yeah. And I mean, like, June the Insurgent is my least favorite detour they've ever taken. So I didn't care for it at all. Also, I mean, just gonna throw this out there. In the world of Gilead that they have built in this show, and the world of how this whole thing works, I mean, we all understand that Moira and June would have never found each other like that, right? Like, I mean, that's just one of those things the show wants us to go with. And fine, I read a Variety recap or Vulture recap that was like, it worked on me. Cool. If it worked on you, amazing. It didn't work on me, but that's just because I think I have this like Stockholm syndrome with this show.
But I think we talked about it offline, and I think this is an important point to make, because we keep talking about how they don't do the work to get places. It was a very quick, kind of mumbled conversation with Moira and her girlfriend Una several episodes ago that they referenced in the, previously in The Handmaid's Tale before Chicago, where she said, like, you could always come with me. But she wasn't talking about Chicago. And we
or at least it
didn't,
was not clear that she was.
it wasn't explicitly clear. I thought she said Ontario, but maybe she said Chicago. I could be wrong, folks, correct me. But to jump from that to the Moira we get in episode 5 and then especially episode 6, I don't feel like they did that work with Moira. And it wouldn't have been a lot of work to do that, but it kind of caught me by, I was like, oh, that's what Moira's been working towards. Oh, okay. Like, so I think that was part of it for me. That was confusing. The other, and like the thing with Janine and June and like You'll Never Walk Alone, Handmaids Always Walk in Pairs, like that was valuable and important for showing their relationship and what the bond they formed in Gilead, but you didn't need that goodbye scene to have it. Like June could have said, I'm leaving, and Janine would say, like, let me think about it or whatever, come back and say, Handmaids work in pairs, I'm not leaving you.
I mean, I guess, like, okay, so devil's advocate for 2 seconds. If they want to really drive home, You Will Never Walk Alone, Handmaids Always Walk in Pairs, which again, name out of your mouth, Aunt Lydia. Then I think they do need that dramatic, really intense thing. So for me, what I don't understand is why we need to underscore that handmaids never walk alone.
Yeah.
So why do we need, because it was like that whole, if you need us to believe that the bond that these people have, because according to Aunt Lydia, they are chosen, but we know they are bonded through trauma, is so intense, several things. One, that doesn't allow for June to sacrifice everybody else she has ever sacrificed. 2, it doesn't, then why do we immediately blow up everything? And by
because that's the thing, like that emotional payoff is completely negated by dropping bombs.
That's it. So as we're talking, what I really mean by we didn't need the goodbye scene is that we didn't need it for what you ended up doing.
Yeah.
With it was a very powerful image of those handmaids walking in a circle. And this idea of these are the juxtaposed ends of handmaids, but no matter what they go through, they are now bonded through trauma. But June has never, ever responded to anybody else that way, except for Janine, which is so much more maternal to me than partner. And her patronizing level of love for Janine is not my favorite, but people do that. And it sounds like that was who June was before Gilead too. She was just kind of she's not somebody I would have been friends with. So
and she had a relationship of more even footing with Emily and Moira.
Right. And I don't think an even footing one with Janine, which is what Janine tried to show in Milk, but then we slide right back here in the episode entitled Chicago. We slide right back to Janine as kind of June's pseudo stand-in child. So this is all a really messy episode, because whereas with the Gilead bit, they could be setting up something really, really fascinating. With the June bit, it just continues to be in their already established pattern of telling us things to then not have the full payoff.
Yeah.
Or to not, like, and again, I mean, as many of you commenters have said on episode 4, like, we're just not talking about her gunshot wound anymore. Like, we're not talking about any of this anymore. So their ability as a writer's room to knit together emotional payoffs is either arrested or absent.
And I think the other thing that we get in this episode that we got from Janine in episode 4, we got from Alma in episodes 2 and 3 before they killed her, was people calling June on her BS.
Yep.
Like, why this needs to keep happening when it doesn't change June's behavior. Like,
is the show just trying to tell us that they know she's annoying?
Yeah, because and the scene I'm referencing in this episode is when I don't know what Nick's doing. So if somebody understood that better than I could, please explain.
Yeah, is he working with Mayday? Help us. Make it make sense. Somebody, one of our very smart commenters, help us.
Yeah, make it make sense. You guys remember more details than we do. but he arranges a meeting with Mayday and a couple Marthas. I need to find June. And you get, again, strong black Martha saying, you know, a lot of good women died helping her. Everyone that helps her ends up on the wall. And like, I'm here for people saying that. I'm here for people seeing, but like, why? But why? Like, what does it get us? We keep saying it, like, thank you, show. I know that you think June is unstable.
And yet you still save her at all costs. So I don't know what you're doing.
If she actually suffered consequences for as irresponsible as she has been since, I don't know, sometime in episode 3, when I think my most irresponsible June moment of recent memory was when she insisted on finding a way to Hannah's school so she could see her.
Mine is still killing Commander what's his
Oh, Winslow. Yeah.
That's probably my most one.
But like, you go back to those moments, right? And like, she would have suffered consequences.
She'd be on the wall, folks. Like, because the thing is, like, this whole notion that like they're like every womb is precious. In season 1, we saw handmaids on the wall. I am 99% positive. If I am making that up, please someone tell me. But like, at some point, we had a deeper narrative relationship with the wall than we have now. And I don't believe Gilead would have, like, they're getting fresh wombs, obviously, somewhere. Like, June is so problematic. You're telling me that birthing one child is worth all the nonsense? I'm sorry. If I was in charge of Gilead, she'd be on the wall. Like, it's...
Like
she is the classic example of something that dictatorships make examples out of.
All the time. And like...
So it's just very bizarre. It's all very bizarre. And a lot of it comes back to Bruce Miller saying the show is about her, and all our contention and many of your contention, then you should have called it the Offred. Like, you should have called it Offred.
Offred's Tale.
If you wanted to call it The Handmaid's Tale, then The Handmaid is a brand and is bigger and is more fascinating. If you only wanted to talk about June, then from the jump, call it Offred.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's all I've got for Chigaco. So we end with like delightful cover of Fix You. And that, like,
one of my favorite songs, and I love that Chris Martin wrote it for Gwyneth Paltrow to help her out of her depression when her dad died. Like, I love the story behind the song. I love this. The cover was delightful.
Did you get why it was playing right there?
Not even a little bit. So if somebody else can help us.
I didn't either, because I was like,
is it because all I could think of is The Lights Will Guide You Home is Moira to bring, because they're very on the nose with their music selection. So like that could be it. If anyone else has thoughts on that, I think the rest of the episode broke my brain. And by the time we hit Fix You, I had run out of analytical steam power. So
I know, I was like,
wise, wonderful people, tell us why you think they played Fix You.
Why do you think they did? Because I was like, is she fixing Janine? Is Janine fixing her? It's like,
and where is Janine?
And on that note, I think
we'll see you for episode 6, which is called Vows.
Or Where's Janine?
Or in our souls, Where is Janine? And we hope between now and then that you hear delightful covers of songs that make no sense in your life but still bring you joy.
Take care, everybody.
Bye. Hi, everybody. We really, really, really hope that you enjoyed our recap of Chigaco /ranting /confusion.
Emotional dump.
And we can't tell you again enough how much we value talking with you and doing this. It makes us feel so much better to know that we're not watching the show alone.
Yes.
And we hope that we provide the same service for you.
It is a communal activity.
Mm-hmm.
So,
which is why, go ahead.
Speaking of communal activities, join us this Friday. We're going live with our dear friend, Dr. Nadine Thornhill, an honorary good doctor. The Good Doctors 3 will be joining you at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a live Handmaid's Tale chat. So bring your questions, bring your comments, bring your thoughts and feelings. We will be reacting live to you and to each other as we just talk about what the H double hockey sticks is happening in season 4.
And even though our recaps are not up to date, we will be at that point. So you might even get some fresh reactions to the episodes that you haven't seen the recaps for yet. Just as we all chat and talk, because Canada and America are now on the same schedule. They weren't for a little while, but they're now caught up and we can all watch the same things together.
And we will have, at that point, learned the plot of the Testaments.
Yeah, I should say that too. So many of you were asking to read this past weekend, some other good doctor-y stuff. There might be more TED Talks coming, guys. Happened, and that derailed my ability to read the Testaments. However, as we are sailing into Memorial Day weekend, as we record this, obviously before Memorial Day weekend, I'm going to read it and talk to you guys about it during the live episode. We do not know if the wise Dr. Nadine has read the book, but I will at least have done it, which is as good as Dr. Aaron also.
Yeah, and then she will have told me what I need to know. So
we'll bring that energy to the June 4th extravaganza.
Please join us 3 p.m. Eastern time or on the replay crew. We love our replay crew. Sorry, I have struggles with words. But we always love to get your comments, and you can even leave them afterwards if you can't make it live at 3, and we will make sure to get back to you as soon as we can. But we're excited to do it. It's going to be a lot of fun. It might be a little too early to start drinking, but who knows, because it's a Friday. But we'll see you guys then.
Bye, everybody.